the Jaguars have the first overall pick in the 2021 draft, and Trevor Lawrence, we talked about him yesterday as well. So did his head coach, Doug Pederson, on the question of whether it's important for Trevor Lawrence's contract to get resolved this offseason.
I think it's part of the business, but, I mean, I think, obviously the sooner you get it done, right, it's behind everybody. And now we focus on football, and so that's not lingering and that's not out there. I know Trent and his agent, excuse me, they've continued to talk and will talk, and they're working hard and tirelessly, and I just gotta coach Trevor and coach football, and hopefully it gets done, and it will.
Look, they want to get it done. They need to get it done. He's checked the boxes. He's taken the team to the divisional round. He's lived through, as you said yesterday, a horrendous rookie season. Second year was great. Last year was a little bit of a regression, but the team regressed. He had injuries that caused him to miss games for the first time in his career. He's shown that he deserves contract number 2. And I think his performance tracks in a way that whatever they do now, they're going to be glad they did it, because a year from now it's going to cost a lot more. Whatever it's going to cost now, it's going to cost more a year from now. He's shown that he's a keeper, so get it done and keep him. And people are like, well, why don't you feel the same way about Tua? Because I don't think Tua's done enough yet to get us to come to that same conclusion that he's a keeper.
No, exactly right. And, and again, Trevor Lawrence, I've seen him play at a level and make throws and do things that I would go, that's up there with the best quarterbacks in the game. I've never said that with Tua. There's a difference there, right? Let alone, Trevor Lawrence has a rocket right arm and is like, a half a foot taller than Tua and faster than Tua and quicker than Tua, right? And there's just even more potential to be untapped here, and of course doesn't have the Miami Dolphins offense around him. They've seen what they need to see. Those are strong comments by Doug Pederson. That was basically like, get it done, hurry up. I'm sick of talking about it. I don't want to talk about this too much. I think that's why he paused a little bit, because he was like, let me say this delicately. They want it done. They want it behind them. It's just now, to me, a little bit almost like, somewhat the Justin Jefferson thing, or, some of these, what's the sweet spot, right? I don't think Trevor Lawrence is on ground to where he can sit there and ask to be the highest paid quarterback in football, right? I get the sense that he's the kind of guy that, hey, as long as I'm near the top, I'm cool with that. I understand I haven't proven anything. And some guys don't want the pressure of having the highest paid contract at their position. They don't. I do think this gets done. I think it's inevitable. I'd be shocked if this isn't done before training camp, because I just think both sides want it to happen. I don't think Trevor's going to hold their feet over the fire for every last penny.
The easy thing to do is take the Goff extension, 4 years, $212, maybe make it 4 years, $213, 4 years, $214, tack it on to what Lawrence is already due to make, 6-year contract. The average at signing would be a lot lower, but you wouldn't be the highest paid. You would have beaten Goff. You come in ahead of Goff. You're behind Herbert. Not behind Herbert. You're ahead of Herbert as well. You're behind Burrow at the top of the market. There's a way to do this easily. These contracts are not hard to do once both sides are motivated to do it. Pete raises a good question. Should Trevor Lawrence wait on a deal, have a great season, and increase his leverage? We hear about guys bet on themselves all the time. A lot of times when they bet on themselves, it's because they're forced to. If they would offer Trevor Lawrence the Jared Goff contract plus another $250,000 per year or whatever, more than Goff on an extension, it's hard to say no to. You're not really. I mean, that's a big bet to make on yourself. It's easy to bet on yourself when the offer isn't great. It's harder to bet on yourself when you're walking away from something good.
That's right. I don't know. I don't speak for everybody. I know some guys are very into, I want to be the highest paid guy, and that's all there is, and that's it, right? I know I was no superstar in football or anything like that, but if I got in those kind of situations or that right there, and you offered me something close to the top of the market, and damn, it's a lot of guaranteed money and lifelong security for my family, my kids' families, all of that. I'd have a hard time. I turning that down and taking the risk of, let me go another year. Hopefully I stay totally healthy. Hopefully the team does well and it doesn't look bad on me to where now I don't have the same leverage. I don't know. I just, I'd take that reward. I wouldn't mess with the risk there.
I'm still waiting for the guy, and I don't know that this is ever going to happen, but the first round pick who comes in and says, I'm just not doing a deal, and never says it out loud, but just constantly rebuffs, plays out the 4 years of the first round rookie contract, plays out the 5th-year option, gets tagged once, gets tagged twice, 7 years in, 28 years old. We'll let the market decide my value. And you don't have to grandstand. You don't have to make a big issue about it. You just say no to everything they offer. And, I mean, you're not required to engage. You can just show up and say, I'm not really interested in that. I'm not really interested in that. I'm not really interested in that. And then after your 7 years, you put your time in. At quarterback, that's where you can get away with it. It's the Kirk Cousins dynamic. But again, Kirk Cousins didn't choose to do it. He's making $20 million under the franchise tag, and Washington's offering him $16 million a year on a long-term deal. Typical Washington under Dan Snyder. Dysfunctional. Stupid. It was a no-brainer for Cousins. He made $44 million over 2 years. They were offering him $16 million a year. That's what I heard at the time when they tagged him the first time. But if somebody's offering real money and you just say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'll do my 7 years. That's how that NBA mindset gets into the NFL. It takes you 7 years to get there, but at quarterback, you're still 28 years old. You still got another 10 years to play, and you can go wherever you want to go, and you can name your price if you are a guy that's a keeper.
Yeah, you could, but there's great risk in that. Of course, this is coming from the guy that turned down $10 million guaranteed and lost his spleen. There's all that. And then also, too, what I think, and you allude to this all the time, most of these guys want to be great. They don't want the distractions of this. They like Trevor Lawrence, yeah, he wants to be paid and all that, but Trevor Lawrence, he wants to be like an all-time great and win Super Bowls and do all that. And that avenue is not necessarily the way to lead a team to the promised land that way. And that would be what some people argue is Kirk Cousins' problem a little bit. And then those are the issues and whatever else. And the Washington thing was dysfunctional and all of that. And, Kirk is always holding the team for every last dollar and all that, and he's not quite worth it, and the team's not as good or whatever else. Those are the conversations that get used against Kirk Cousins for doing what he did. And I think it adds more pressure to Kirk Cousins, too. And I think it probably adds to you're the highest paid quarterback. You had the first guaranteed contract. You don't perform well in primetime. And those are that's just crap sometimes quarterbacks don't want to deal with. They just want to play football, lead the team, throw the ball, do all that. And I feel like Trevor Lawrence is more along those lines than, Johnny Businessman and do the avenue you're talking about.
And I'd say most guys, they want to have a home, they want to have a team, they want to put down roots, they want to be comfortable, and they want to be part of something and build it and build it and build it. But
yeah, you're right.
We have those NBA parallels from time to time, and that's what the guy that's made a lot of money in NIL is going to make good money his first 7 years in the NFL. May decide I'm not signing any extension, and I'm going to force my way to the open market. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.